Good morning. Let's start the daily discussion. The first topic is shift of focus from the Indo-Pacific to Indian Ocean region. The Indian government has attached greater focus on Indo-Pacific region to strengthen the Quad. Quad is a quadrilateral alliance consisting of India, Australia, USA, and Japan. That is called Quad. Quad is a group of 4 countries that members include India, Australia, USA, and Japan. However, policy attention has shifted back to the Indian Ocean since October 2023 due to certain compelling reasons. Because India shifted from Indian Ocean to Indo-Pacific region, that is Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean region. But again, due to some development taking place in the Indian Ocean region, India shifted its attention from Quad to that Indo-Pacific region to Indian Ocean region again. Quad belong to India, Australia, US, and Japan. The need to shift focus from Indo-Pacific to Indian Ocean region. Deterioration of India-Maldives relation. The Maldives with Mohammad Muizzu as president has adopted an anti-India attitude. Despite New Delhi's patience and diplomatic track, Malé, means Maldives capital Malé, continue to defend its pro-Chinese policies. China has recently announced a new government under its unspecified military assistance could be extended to Maldives. So recently bilateral engagement between India and Maldives, it has been agreed that both the countries will further strengthen, means Maldives and China have started strengthening the relationship. Second is that regionalism of Israel-Hamas conflict, both the Western Indian Ocean and the Northern Indian Ocean, that stretch from the Arabian Sea to the Suez, have become active geographies. Okay, there is gradual regionalization of the Israeli-Hamas conflict. अरे नमिता तो ମୁଁ ମନା କରିଥିଲି ମତେ 29 ତାରିଖରେ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଦେବାକୁ ଦରକାର କାଲି ତମର ଆଖି ଶେଷ ହଉଛି ଗୁରୁବାର ଦିନ ମନେ ନଥିବ there is gradual regionalization of the Israel-Hamas conflict. This has reflected in the attack by Houthi rebels on the international shipping, which led to a massive drop in transit through the Suez Canal. So that is what each again India is focusing to Indian Ocean, because Indian warships are controlling that particular zone in Indian Ocean and giving protection to the ships. Intensification of the strategic contest between India and China. China's strategic intent is to create an adverse environment for India's security by turning the country's neighbors against it. For example, building up naval base in Indian Ocean, littoral states such as Djibouti, that Kopu, Madar, and the Amantota. Strategic ambiguity of European nations. While European nations are concerned about China's illegal claim in the South China Sea, they fail to acknowledge the Chinese assertiveness and hostile intent in Indian Ocean also. Okay. The geographic distance. Okay. Geographic distance of the European nations from China gives them a sense of security. That's why, because the European countries are far away from China, so they are not worried about the Chinese hegemony in this region, and they are very less concerned about the development here. Way forward. So, priority to Indian Ocean region. India needs to convey a clear message to its strategic partners that while it is conscious of its Indo-Pacific responsibilities, it must prioritize the Indian Ocean region to secure its strategic interest in its immediate neighborhood. So, a review of the IORA and the CSC. Okay, CSC stands for Colombo Security Conclave. There is a need to review the working of Indian Ocean Rim Association (IORA) and the Colombo Security Conclave. IORA has been underperforming, and CSC faces the danger of losing the Maldives due to its pro-Chinese tilt. Creation of Indian Ocean Rim Cooperation Organization. There should be the creation of a new organization called the Indian Ocean Rim organization called Indian Ocean Organization to boost maritime security and optimizing the potential for the blue economy. This group may comprise of 4 nations from the neighborhood: India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Myanmar, and 4 island states: Mauritius, Seychelles, Comoros, and the Madagascar. Okay. Strengthening Indian Navy. Foreign Affairs Insights and Review ranked the Indian Navy the 7th most powerful in the world to contain aggressive posturing of China and to become net security provider in the Indo-Pacific region. India should find new budgetary sources for its navy to make it the 3rd or 4th strongest in the world. Okay, so it can be the protector of this region and provide all the services not only to itself and the security point, but also to other neighboring countries, so who will be in this Indian coordinated protection of the region. Okay, so that is what is the present sensitive security issue. Then next topic is topical economy, recalibrating the non-personal data. The importance of digitization of achieving India's goal of becoming a US $5 trillion economy cannot be emphasized enough. According to the NASCOM report, data and artificial intelligence could contribute around 450 to 500 billion to the Indian GDP by 2025. However, the rapid digitization of government operations is leading to a significant increase in the amount of citizen data being generated. This data typically falls into 2 categories: personal data, which includes information that can identify individuals, and non-personal data, which excludes personal information. Okay, so 2 different types of data. Application of high value advanced analytical and AI to non-personalized data across key sectors of the economy can help predict social and economically sound outcomes. Juncture where such data-driven insight can better inform governance and public function are meteorological and disaster forecast, infrastructure capacity, and citizen use pattern, mobility and housing pattern, and employment trends, to name a few. About non-personal data, any data which is not personal data is categorized as non-personal data. In terms of origin, non-personal data can be data which is never related to natural persons, such as data on weather or supply chains. Data which was initially personal data but has been anonymized through use of certain techniques to ensure that individual who to whom the data relates to cannot be identified. That is non-personalized data. Types: public non-personal data, data collected or generated by the government in the course of publicly funded work. For example, anonymized data of land records or vehicle registration can be considered as public non-personal data. Community non-personal data, raw or factual data without any processing, which is sourced from a community of personal natural persons. For example, data sets collected by municipal corporation or public electric utilities. Private non-personal data, data which is collected or generated by private entities through privately owned processes and derive insights, algorithms, or proprietary knowledge. That non-personalized data constitute the primary kind of citizen data obtained by the government, which possesses the potential of serving as a public good. To create synergies and devise scalable solutions, integrating the non-personalized data in the dispensation of public services is gradually being advocated for. Indian context, the National Strategy for Artificial Intelligence, for instance, contemplates making some types of government data available for the public good and mandating corporation to share aggregated data as a means of overcoming the hurdle of limited data access within the AI ecosystem. The Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology (MeitY) released the National Data Governance Framework policy, which was touted as the first building block of the digital architecture being conceived to maximize data-driven governance. Then it also proposes setting up an India Data Management Office, IDMO, India Data Management Office, under the Digital India Corporation, which shall be responsible for framing, managing, and periodically reviewing the revise of the policy. Different concerns associated with the non-personal data. Sensitivity issues involved, unlike personal data which contain explicit information about a person's name, age, gender, sexual orientation, biometrics, and other genetic details. Non-personal data is more likely to be in an anonymized form. Lack of effective regulation. Unfortunately, unlike personal data, there is a stark absence of regulations for the non-personal data. As of date, less efforts have been made at the executive level to construct governance policy for the same. Report by the Committee of Experts on Non-Personal Data Governance Framework highlighted the lack of effective regulations and stress upon the urgency of effectively regulating the non-personal data in India along the lines of personal data. Undue advantage of to big tech, a government committee headed by the Infosys co-founder Chris Gopalakrishnan in 2020 has suggested that non-personal data generated in the country be allowed to be harnessed by various domestic companies and entities, which raises significant concern. The data sets will heavily favor big technological companies. Issue of mixed database containing both personal and non-personal data. The reality of the mixed data set and the inevitable overlap between the two nations, that a clear demarcation is not tenable. The language of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023 alludes the mixed database falling under the ambit of personal data protection standard, much like the application of the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe. Lack of effective utilization of the non-personalized data. None of the above mentioned laws, like the DPDP Act 2023 and the NPD framework, provides for an enforceable regime for the non-personal data in India. For this reason, vast reservoir of non-personal data stand unregulated and are supported only by limited guidance in dissemination, use or exchange thereof. Unprotected interflow across department. The unprotected interflow of the non-personal data across the departments. Third parties and citizens can make sensitive aspect of the non-personal data vulnerable due to privacy breaches. This can unfairly benefit capacity carrying actors like big tech. The imperfect analysis of crucial public trend can result in faulty decision making. Such exchange of data is also insignificant, inefficient, as it fails to unlock the power of interdisciplinary legislative and policy making. Issue of the non-personalized data framework. The non-personalized data framework, being a pioneering step, also exhibits several gaps. It formulates abstract high-level principle and objective for the non-personalized government, but lack tangible, actionable guidance to achieve them. While legislation is expected, practical operationalization is overlooked, leaving questions unanswered regarding stakeholders' right and obligation across sectors. Additionally, mechanism for pricing of data and appropriate legal structure for data exchange are not addressed. The absence of standardized governance tool compounds these challenges. Okay, measure need to be adopted to effectively harness the non-personalized data. Critical assessment of NPD framework. A critical evaluation of the NPD framework to address the existing gap will be beneficial. This will supplement MIT's effort to regulate NPD and will help force data exchange as suitable media to make NPD interoperable across sectors. Data exchange are a scalable ecosystem which galvanize multiple stakeholders. This makes them a fertile ground for deploying advanced analytics for outcome oriented decision making and help achieve economies of scale. Example, in India, Telangana has created an agricultural data exchange, and the Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, in partnership with the Indian Institute of Science, has established the India Urban Data Exchange. The Department of Science and Technology also plans to set up the data exchange associated with data exchange to implement aspect of the national geospatial policy. Recommend the expert committee. The expert committee constituted by the MeitY Ministry of Environment, that electronic and electronic to and telecommunication, to study various issues relating to non-personal data, submitted its report in July 2020. The committee made following recommendation: formulating rules of the non-personalized data governance framework. The data principal is the entity to whom the non-personal data relates to. This entity can be an individual, a community, or a company. Data principal may exercise right over their data through a representative entity called data trustee. The committee recommended establishing data business as a new category of business in the country. Entities including government agencies which collect, process, or store data beyond a threshold as specified by the regulator will be classified as a data business. Non-personal data authority. This regulatory authority will be established for putting in place the framework of governance of non-personal data. It will consist of experts in the field such as data governance and technology. Sharing of non-personal data. Any entity may raise a data sharing request for a sovereign purpose such as national security or legal requirement, public interest purpose, policy making or better delivery of services, economic purpose to provide for a level playing field or for a monetary consideration. While the NPD holds promise as a public goods and can enhance public services, its unregulated status poses risk including de-anonymization and unfair advantages for certain entities. The current governance framework, including the National Data Governance Framework Policy, lack enforceability and operational clarity, leaving the non-personal data largely unregulated and hindering its potential benefit. Okay, next is the section 153A of the Indian Penal Code. The Supreme Court classified that for an act to be considered an offence under section 153A of the IPC or Indian Penal Code, it must cause anonymity and discord between two or more group of communities. Okay, about the section 153A of IPC aims to penalize individuals who promote hostility between different groups based on factors like religion, caste, race, place of birth or residence, or language. Accountability. The provision holds accountable those who share hate through words spoken or written, image or sign to stir up discord and animosity or unrest among people of different groups, religions, caste or communities. Spread disharmony and disturb the public tranquility of the people belonging to different racial and religious groups. Assist in arranging activity that promote and train participants to use criminal forces and violence against people of different racial or religious background. This section also includes offences involving moral wrongdoings. Punishment. The offence is cognizable. Offence can lead to up to 3 years in prison, a fine, or both. If the offence happens in a place of worship, the punishment can increase to 5 years in prison and a fine. Okay. Additionally, under section 153A, the offence is non-bailable and the accused is tried by a first-class magistrate. A cognizable offence allows a police officer to investigate and make an arrest without needing a magistrate's order or a warrant. Low conviction rate issue according to the National Crime Record Bureau. The conviction rate of Section 153A is very low. That is why this is the chances of misuse is being labeled against it, because the conviction rate is a proof of the effectiveness of the law and how it is used or misused. When the conviction rate is very less, so it is a testimony that this is not being properly used and being misused. Okay. So safeguard against the misuse, Section 153A and 153B needs government approval before starting prosecution. This approval is necessary before the trial, not during the initial investigation. To limit arbitrary arrest, the Supreme Court set guidelines in 2014 in the case of Arnesh Kumar versus State of Bihar. According to the guidelines, for crimes with sentences less than 7 years, the police cannot arrest someone automatically before investigation. That means, so a person can only be arrested after due investigation of the complaint made against the person. Okay. Then the IMT trilateral exercise, INS Tir, INS Sujata are set to join the upcoming Indian Mozambique Tanzania IMT trilateral exercise 2024. About it is a joint maritime exercise scheduled from 21st 29th March 24 among the Indian, Mozambique and the Tanzania Navy. Objective is to capacity development to address common threat through training and sharing of best practices, enhancing interoperability, strengthening maritime cooperation. First edition of the edition was held in October 2022. Phase of the current exercise is divided into two phases. Harbour phase. During the harbour phase from March 21st to March 24th, naval ships Tir and Sujata will interact with the respective Navy at the port of Zanzibar, Tanzania and Maputo in Mozambique. They will interact. This phase will start with a planning conference followed by joint harbour training activities such as damage control, firefighting, visit board search and seizure procedures, medical lectures, casualty evacuation and diving operations. The sea phase. The sea phase of the exercise focus on practical aspect of countering asymmetric threats, visit board search and seizure procedures, boat handling, maneuvers and fire exercising. Additionally, a joint exclusive economic zone surveillance is planned during the phase. Puspak reusable landing vehicles, LX2 landing equipment, etc. will be used during this. Okay, next is ISRO has successfully tested the Puspak reusable landing vehicle in the Chitradurga of Karnataka. Okay, what is a reusable landing vehicle? So this test the second one in the sequence after the RLV LEV1, so called the autonomous landing coupled to the RLV known as the Puspak. Reusable landing vehicles. The reusable landing vehicle is conceptualized as a space plane with a low lift to drag ratio requiring an approach at a high glide angle that necessitates landing at high velocity of 350 km per hour. This design allows it to transport payloads to low Earth orbits and return to Earth for future use. That means the vehicle, space launch vehicle or the rocket will be returned back for reuse. It uses various indigenous systems including localized navigation based on pseudolite technology along with instrumentation and sensor system developed by ISRO. The reusable launch vehicle technology demonstrator program is designed to sequence of technology demonstration missions aimed at achieving a fully reusable two-stage to orbit vehicle. What are the method used for the experiment? Challenging autonomous landing. The RLB LAX-02 mission showcased the autonomous landing capability of the reusable launch vehicle named the Pushpak under the challenging conditions after being released from a Chinook helicopter at 4.5 km altitude. Automatic control adjustment. It approached the runway autonomously, making adjustment as needed and landed precisely using its brake parachute, landing gear brake and nose wheel steering system. RLB LEX-01 system reuses all flight system from the RLB LEX-01 were reused in this mission after receiving necessary certification. Agency involved. The mission was carried out by the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Liquid Propulsion System Center and the ISRO Inertial System Unit. Okay. Then the next topic is about Usam Mehta, the Indian freedom fighter. A film, Are Watan Mere Watan, Aye Watan Mere Watan, concentrated on the life of Indian freedom fighter Usam Mehta, has recently been released. So Usam Mehta was born in 1920 in the village of Saras near Surat in Gujarat. Mahatma Gandhi's follower, she followed Gandhi's principle and was often called as Ushaben. Role in Indian freedom struggle. When she was 8 years old in 1928, she joined the protest march against the Simon Commission. In August 14, 1942, she and her associates set up the secret Congress radio during the Quit India movement, which began broadcasting on August 27. Awarded Padma Vibhushan in 1998, the Government of India honored her with a Padma Vibhushan, the second highest civilian award in the country. Setting up the underground station. Background. When the World War II began in 1939, the British suspended all amateur radio licenses across the empire. Operators were required to surrender all equipment to the authorities, facing severe punishment if they do not comply to it. Congress radio station creation. Congress radio was created during the Quit India movement to spread the message of independence, making it one of the India's earliest radio network. It was used by Gandhiji to promote independence. So organization Usam Mehta along with the Babu Bhai Khakkar, Vittal Bhai Javeri and Chandrakant Javeri played vital roles in organizing Congress radio. End to Congress radio to avoid detection of the British. They regularly changed transmission location. The operation was exposed when Nariman Printer was captured. He revealed the location of Congress radio in exchange for immunity. So it was detected and suspended then. In Congress radio case, the trial of the 5 accused Usam Mehta, Babu Bhai Kakkar, Vittal Bhai Javeri, Chandrakant Javeri and Nanak Gaichand Montwane, who sold essential equipment to the team, stirred considerable excitement in Bombay. Vittal Bhai and Motwana were cleared of charges, while Mehta, Babu Bhai and Chandrakanta received harsh sentences. Usam Mehta was freed from Pune, the Arada jail in March 1946 and is celebrated in nationalist media as the Radio Ben. It was also known as the Quit India movement, also known as the August movement or the Bharat Chodo Andolan, and it was a major act of civil disobedience. It was led by Mahatma Gandhi and the National Congress and August 8, 1942 at the Gowali Tank Maidan, also known as the Agast Kranti Maidan in Bombay. The do or die slogan given Mahatma Gandhi at Bombay's Gowali Tank Maidan. Okay, the next topic is the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal. Arvind Kejriwal arrested. Can a chief minister serve while in jail? What does the constitutional legal provision say? According to the law, under Article 361, the President of India and the Governor are immune from civil or criminal proceeding during their term. However, This protection does not extend to Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers. No provision prohibits him from continuing as Chief Minister. According to constitutional expert, no constitutional legal provision exists to prevent him from continuing. According to the rules, he loses his position only if he loses the majority in the House. His party asks him to step down. He resigns from the position. But these three, nothing has been done by him. A conviction required for disqualification. According to Section 8 of the Representation of the People Act 1951, conviction is necessary for disqualification since Kejriwal has not been convicted. He can legally stay in office. However, governing from PG presents practical challenges. With the practical challenge, practical issue may arise as he would be required to lead cabinet meetings, consult with colleagues on decisions, and review minutes of approval. However, in jail, he could be subject to jail manual, which could pose difficulties. What do the court judgment say? Manoj Narula versus Union of India. In case of Manoj Narula versus Union of India case, Supreme Court ruled that constitutional morality, good governance, and constitutional trust be fundamental criteria for holding public offices. Then coming to the question, international aid is an accepted form of helping resources, challenge nations, comment on ethics in contemporary international aid, support your answer with suitable example. Okay, this is a topic on international assistance or international aid. International aid refers to the assistance provided by one country or international organization to another country facing various challenges, exemplified by Indian contribution of INR nearly 96 crore to Nepal for post-earthquake assistance in 2015. However, the ethics surrounding international aid have become increasingly important in contemporary scenario as ensuring aid is delivered and utilized ethically is essential to its effectiveness and the well-being of recipient nation. Ethical foundation of international aid, humanitarian assistance, altruism. Altruism, a fundamental ethical foundation of international aid, emphasizes selfless concern for the welfare of others. A prime example is the global response to the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. Okay. Altruism, a fundamental ethical foundation of international aid, emphasizes effective selfless concern for the welfare of the others. A prime example is the global response to the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. The global community responded. The principle of global solidarity underscored the shared responsibility of the international community in assisting nations facing challenges. An excellent illustration is the establishment of COVAX, equitable access to COVID-19 vaccine during the pandemic. Development assistance, capacity building, a crucial ethical foundation emphasizes empowering nations to become self-sufficient and resilient. The Marshall Plan post Second World War exemplified this principle by focusing on long-term recovery of Europe. Education and health. The ethical imperative to enhance education and healthcare is paramount in international aid efforts. This is exemplified by agencies like UNICEF, which actively promote education, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which was made significant contribution to improving healthcare around the world. Ecological sustainability. With growing environmental concern, international aid increasingly includes projects for sustainable development and environment conservation. An example is the Green Climate Fund, which supports projects that mitigate the impact of climate change in vulnerable countries. Then ethical issue on Christmas, conditional aid, political manipulation. International aid often face criticism of being influenced by political motive. rather than solely addressing humanitarian needs. For instance, US aid to Central American countries has been accused of prioritizing political interest over the welfare of the recipients. Those who give the aid, so they give it more in response to spread more in with a desire to spread their influence than really in need of helping others. Economic dependency. Certain forms of aid have inadvertently created economic dependency rather than promoting self-sufficiency. Haiti, despite receiving substantial aid, continued to struggle with economic hardship, demonstrating increased dependence on external assistance. Because that Haiti depends more on external assistance, that is why it is facing trouble. So, corruption. Inequitable distribution of aid has often resulted in corruption, where funds intended for relief and development are embezzled or misappropriated. In this case of Haiti earthquake relief effort of 2010, corruption within the Haiti's earthquake relief effort in 2010, corruption within the aid distribution system hindered effective relief efforts. Armed conflict. Aid can also be misused to fuel armed conflict, as seen in cases where humanitarian assistance inadvertently supports warring factions rather than benefiting the affected population. Other than helping the people who are suffering from this international aid or other aids are used by the armed groups to fight with each other. Such misuse can have several ethical implications for international aid efforts. The ethical dimension of international aid are complex and multifaceted, highlighting the need to strike a balance between noble intentions and potential pitfalls. This balance is paramount to ensuring that international aid better serve its intended purpose while upholding the principle of fairness, compassion, and global environmental responsibility. Then come to the MCQs. So, right to privacy is protected under which Act in the Indian Constitution? Is Article 21. Which of the following were the causes behind the launch of the non-cooperation movement? Punjab Rang of 1919, resettlement with the Adat Act, the Khilafat Rang. So here all the three are correct options. Consider the following statement regarding the sinkholes. Sinkholes are depressions formed in the ground when layers of the earth surface starts collapsing into caverns. They are formed in an area of the crust terrain where the rock below the surface of the earth can be easily dissolved by the underground water. They are formed due to natural process of or human activity. Here all the three are correct. Consider the following space: Gulmarg, Kargil, the Nubra Valley and the Hemish. How many of these places is in the Ladakh? So here, so only three are, not all the four, three are situated. The Lishu tribe resides in or Arunachal Pradesh. Consider the following statement with respect to the Manjusa art. The art form is made of bamboo, jute, and paper. Abstract geometric patterns are often depicted in the Manjusa art. The art form is completely based on the folklore of the Bihula Bishari. So it is 1 and 3 are correct. The hemoglobin A1C test seen in the news recently measures, so it measures diabetes. Which one of the following is the primary purpose of the spaceborne assistance and knowledge hub for the crew interaction up on board the spacecraft? It is to provide real-time information assistance to the astronauts. Which one of the following statement about one Korean person is correct? It exercises price changes of food and energy due to their volatility. Answer will be B. The Gulf of Tonkin is a body of water in the South China Sea.